Thank you so much of these kind words, which I didn't understand, but that's I have trust in you. It's lovely to be here and an honor, true honor to be here today, as there has been mentions already. It's always so inspiring for us to come together and have hopes for the future and then understanding of our history. And I will share some ideas from the Finnish system, and it has very high qualities on the paper, but as we all know, we are human beings, and when human beings are implementing something, it has millions of factors that needs to be tackled together in this very multi-professional and multi-dimensional and intersectional world of supporting children and families in their lives. I have been working as an early education teacher and special education teacher and as a principal of early education unit, but for the past 15 years I've been teaching in University of Applied Sciences. I mainly teach early childhood education related subjects. My favorite is actually playful learning, and maybe we will do something at the end today as well. So prepare yourself for a small play together, because it's something that brings, I really believe in that it brings us together. Should I? Yes. So the next one, I will tell you something about Finland. It's we are the happiest people in the world. It's this big research about well-being overall around the countries, and this is the 7th year in a row, and we are really truly the happiest. But if you would come to Finland and take a look of our people, we would seem miserable. We are not that happy at all, because we have been trained, our educational system have been trained us to be very critical, very, very critical. We point out every mistakes, every obstacles, and everything what is not going okay. And that's a good strength as well, because it's the step towards development when we realize that, okay, we're not doing good, or this is not doing well. But actually, what has been a great transition also in inclusion is that we have to focus much more in the strength-based understanding of people. Also people with disabilities, that they actually have abilities. And very often, if we go to the system and check that how we observe children, for example, we check for their disabilities and not their abilities. And if we think of zone of proximal development, we have to understand what are the abilities and build from that. So we have this great system of education, and I must be proud of that. I have to say that it has proved its success throughout the years. We were the poorest country of Europe after the Second World War, and our ministry had decided to invest in equal education for all, and not only equal high-quality education for all, but meals offered for children who come to school. And it was the starting point of ecosystem understanding that we really need to not only to educate children, but really to think of what are their needs outside the school, outside the early education, how their family is doing, what are the needs there, and so on. And that has been also a lack of our system in Finland. Well, November it's the darkest month because we usually have no snow. A couple of days ago, we had a snowfall, 10 centimeters of snow, but it's very dark and we need a lot of coffee. So we drink the most coffee in the world. And I felt a little bit tired before this speech, and I got this ginseng jelly. Thank you, President Park. And if I manage to go through this presentation, I will buy a big box of that. But here you can see a traditional sauna. We have 300,000 lakes, so every Finnish person could have a small house beside a lake because there's 5.5 million people, and wonderful winter activities as well. So welcome there. But now to the content itself. Let's take a look of the legal framework of support of children with special needs, how we train our professionals, and then I will share some experiences and notes. And again, as we think that development comes from a critical point of view, I will also state some critical points that we do not very well, but let's not think that it's blackmailing the entire system. So what we have, the social model in the background, and it's very important that we really understand that it's based on the idea that it's upon us people to build these environments to everyone. We are measured by the acts, how we support people with diverse needs in an intersectional way, and that is something that challenges us all. And as I teach my students in the university, we bring children, groups of children, into our school, and I will teach or organize activities to the children, and my students will observe, and then they can give feedback to me. And I do mistakes, and we all learn from that. And it's much easier for them to go and be brave and try different things when they have had good and also a little bit weaker practice, so they understand that they don't have to be perfect, but they have to throw themselves to the actions and have this passion inside them that they can also make mistakes, because it's always very challenging to be with children and with children with special needs and try to guess, sometimes guess is the correct word, that what might work the best. And if you don't feel the strength of making mistakes, you can't work in that flexibility that this social model actually would need. So all of our teachers are trained to individually observe and decide. They have the autonomy to decide in their groups with their teams. We work in teams in early education, so from 1 year our children come to early education earliest, 10 months earliest, but 1 year to 1.5 years is the most common. And up to 5 years we have early education, which is it's a right for every child. So the municipalities has to arrange an early education place for every children, but the parents can still choose. And if the parents have income, they will have to pay. The monthly fee is not very big, so the highest fee is 400 euros. I don't know how much it is here, but it's not that bad in Finland. But if you have many children, or very often, for example, immigrant families, they choose not to come to early education settings. So it's not an equal right for every children when their families can decide whether they give it to their children or not. But still, it has this positive side that every child is entitled this subjective right for early education. And we think that the educational and pedagogical support is enough for most of the children. For most of the disabilities, they can develop well in our settings, because our settings are very well resourced, if we get the resource. Because I must say that we have a huge lack of professional teachers at the moment in Helsinki area. 50% of the groups of children have unqualified teacher working with the children at the moment. So if you're interested in moving to Finland and maybe learning a little bit of Finnish, it's a possibility. But I understand also that for me, coming to work in Korea and learn the language, a little bit impossible. But even though we have this idea that early education settings are suitable for most of the children, we really think that all of the children who need the treatment and medical support, therapists or other medical support, of course, they must have that. And if the child has a severe disability, which is based on the shared model of disabilities, I think among many countries, they are entitled the early education for free. So that's one less obstacle for the families if there is a disability that the municipality sees that the child needs this support. So we used to have a framework, quite open framework, and it wasn't mandatory for actually the teachers and staff to follow. We believe in training, and we believe in this autonomy, and we had very open framework. But in 2016, we decided that we need a curriculum, a mandatory curriculum, that it's not working well enough that we have this open guideline. And I was part of the steering of the making of the curriculum, and we can be also proud of that. It's a curriculum for all children, but we don't have certain goals for different age groups. Every child will be entitled with their own individual educational plan. And that is very important, that we don't force children to learn certain elements before they are ready. And we truly believe in that. We have goals for them, of course, and we know that, okay, during this time frame, or what is the next step in their learning and what they could learn, and then give them a little push. But it's not. It's more a demand for the teachers and for the other educators to act in a way that children can thrive. And this is very important, that the legislation also gives legal framework for the municipalities. We had very nice practices also before. We have had this 3-tier model of support, which I will be telling soon, for 20 years. But there was municipalities who did not want to use that, so they gave very different support, different cities. So some families had to even move to other city to get support for their child, because it was so open-ended, the framework. Before the law said that every child should be given needed support. But we all know that if who will decide which is needed or which is given at the end. So it was very important that we have now equal support system for all of our children. So this is an example from the municipality of Espoo, which is a city actually they are attached, Helsinki and Espoo. There's 3 cities attached, and we call them the metropolitan area of Finland. So no diagnosis or other statement is required for accessing the support. Every group in every early education unit, which we used to call day homes, which I actually like, because I like the soft idea that children can be 10 hours a day in a home-like environment. And we don't have classrooms. That's not our way. Every group, most of the groups have 3 staff members, and there's 3 rooms, and they can separate in smaller groups. They can also work together, but it's very important that if there's a special need, if there's a child who would benefit of language club, more focused peer relation support in play or something, they can divide and have relaxed environments with different kind of needs and different kind of groups. And I really think that you can't provide proper inclusion if you don't think throughout the entire environment where the support is given. We know that there's plenty of children who won't do well in big groups or won't do well in very stimulating environment, which many classrooms at the moment are. The parents are in a very important role in Finland. They have, before the new legislation in 2022, the families had the right also to say that they won't take the support for their children. And I also, during my career, I met families who weren't willing to take the support because they were afraid that their child will be labeled or their family will be somehow pointed out to be a not good family or something like that because they have a child with special needs. That's a traditional thought. And that's also something that we have to fight against for, that they should be proud that they are parents of a wonderful human being, and we should also be proud that we can support these children. So this, what we have, will give the possibility of support before diagnosis or anything like that. So we don't need the diagnosis to get the resources, to get the support for the child. Of course, sometimes we have to fight for the resources. There's not a person with a money pocket giving us money to get new resources or something like that. But we have to be tough in advocacy work as well, that we speak for the child and for the family, and we know how to pull the right strings to get things happening in the settings, because inclusion is neglect if you integrate but not give the resources. And this is what is happening very often also in Finland, that we think that it's inclusion, that every child, regardless of their special needs, they will be put into the normal, common early education group, which is a very beautiful idea. But we have to also take a look of the child's experience. And if the child's experience is not good enough And the child, for example, does not, I love the way, Peggy, you talked about the peer relationships, that how important the peer relationships actually are. That we have to train our practitioners much more in observing children's friendships. And I've told to my students that the main thing what you have to do is to take a look that every child has a very good friend. And if after the early years education, you can say that all children in my group has this, it's almost enough. It's something that we probably would need some kind of didactics about friendships and so on. So a pedagogical framework how to teach emotional skills and friendship, which we don't yet have, because this inclusion is about belonging, and it's about feeling and emotions and supporting each other. But I've seen also groups where the special needs of the children are much too challenging, so that everyone is actually not doing well. So it's taking too much from the environment, from the children, and also in those situations we have to be brave enough to say that it's not working and we have to find a new way. So the assessment is a pedagogical assessment. The teachers and the educators never diagnose. They can participate in the diagnosing process together with other professionals, but they only give pedagogical descriptions and documentation about the child and how the child is acting in the early education setting. So we never, teachers, suggest the diagnosis, it's the other professionals. But we point out the need, together with the family, that this child would benefit from a further observation and maybe also this diagnosis, if there is an understanding that the diagnosis will then bring some resources that the child would benefit. We don't do diagnosis only because we think that it's nice to know. It has to have this thought that we can work better with the child with the information. So the support is organized in daily life actions. Very practical, very small things. But again, if the environment is not proper for the child, we have also special education groups. We have special education units for children with severe disabilities. We have also hospital schools, hospital early education. So children who are long time at the hospital, they have their own curriculum, which is of course based on this curriculum, and children are supported also if they need that kind of treatment. Sometimes it can be there is more and more also psychological issues related with children, even severe depression, and sometimes children have to stay long time in intensive care, but we have early education also there. So the first goal is to integrate and to have inclusion in normal groups, but then we have other possibilities which we can decide together with other professionals and the parents. A three-tier model of support is that we give general support to every child. Every child has their own identified kind of special needs. It's actually a word that we don't very much anymore use, this special needs in Finland. It's needs, which everyone has. But I think that, of course, we have to have language to tell that when it's more intensive or when it's special support, but we don't want to push children away by labeling them as special need children either. So that's why we've chosen not to talk about special need children in that sense. So general support offered to all children. Then if we recognize that there's intensive support, we can have an evaluation also from the special education teacher. Most of our early education units has one special education teacher who can consultate and also arrange activities in every unit. And then decide, and then we do this individual special education plan or intensive support plan for the child, and it's more rapidly gone through. Like the normal child has their own individual plan, and we evaluate that twice a year. But for intensive support, we do it more often together with the parent, just to make sure that we are on the same page and that we are doing actions that are actually visibly supporting the child and the family in their challenges. Maybe I will hop over this because I have to check the time. I have 10 minutes, yes. Okay, so, but it's very important to understand also that what our teachers are doing, that they give the pedagogical support, the structural support, and sometimes they also offer therapeutic support if they are guided by other professionals. So they can give some kind of, for example, TheraPlay is a very good example, that the occupational therapist, together with the teachers and educators, they think of ways to support the child. But the treatment or therapy itself is not offered by the early education practitioners, but very often we get the physiotherapist, occupational therapist, and so on to the early education unit as an additional resource, and they do what they do with the child together with other children, which is, I think that it's supporting the peer group, the entire peer group, that when they come, it's not only one-to-one therapy. Very often they take a couple of the peers, and it also gives them understanding that how the child is actually acting and learning, and at the same time it gives this very important support for the engagement in the peer group, so that child with special needs gets support in belonging. So I won't say many words about this slide, but we have, I think that it's all around similar, that we have all kinds of special needs in our settings, and then we have to there decide the best ways of support. Behavioral and emotional special needs are increasing, and we don't exactly know why. It's something that is very important to think about. That is it our stressful lives, or social media, or too much games, not engaging with nature, not engaging with social activities, or well, usually all together, but there's plenty of addictive behavior already among children, which is quite challenging as we are not yet having the state of proper understanding of the consequences. The amount of children in need of intensified or special support is 6.6% based on the municipality survey. And the three-tier support has reduced the amount of the children in need of special support, because there's now 3 levels. Of course, it doesn't mean that there's less children with special needs, but it's how the children are supported. It has changed, and it's more inclusive. And it is very important, as we are not as intersectional as we would like to think, that when we give these labels, we give these diagnoses, that do we always take a look of the child through the lens of the diagnosis. And that is what happens very easily. I've done that myself as well, that it's always, the person is kind of their disability. It's very human way if you don't throughoutly recognize that how you are positioning the child. But I think that the positive thought behind that is that you constantly try to offer something which is best related with the special need, but actually we should really get sometimes rid of the idea of the special need and think of the strength of the child. So here is a statistic from school, and we have the same system in early education and school. So entire education up to upper secondary school, we have this three-tier model. In higher education, we don't have in legislation the special needs support, but we want to be, of course, inclusive in the universities as well, and we do our best to support our students with special needs. But it's very important that they can't demand services, but of course, for example, our university, we have special education teachers to support our students in their special needs. Training of professional. We have very good ratios, 1 to 3 years olds, 4 children, 1 adult, 3 to 6 year olds, 7 children and 1 adult, and maximum group sizes are very important. The communication networks start to be so big that children with special needs fall out. It's for sure. 21 is even quite a lot. That's why we have special support groups, smaller special support groups, and integrated special groups. But the amount of them has been limited after this 3-tier support model, because the first place for the child is the normal group. Okay, I will not go, you can read these. So we educate every educator to at some level of understanding of special needs. The teachers has quite a lot, the bachelor level teachers and the bachelor level social service bachelors in early childhood education. So we have 2 bachelor level educator in every group, a teacher and a bachelor in social services focused in early education, which focuses in family well-being and more holistic social well-being. And now I will give, this is my last slide before the small thing. Some experiences that, are we asking too much from our teachers? We have some in profession training, but it's not enough actually, that the rapid change to this inclusive system has created a huge need of additional training, and it's not working that well, and our professionals can get very exhausted when they are trying to do their best in a new situation, and very often with the same resources as previously. So it is, we have to train our students also that they are strong enough to fight for the resources, and that they say that, no, we are not doing this, we can't do this, this is not good for the child, when they really feel so. Of course, there are professionals who just have the attitude that they are not interested, and then it's best not to put children with special needs in those groups, and I hope that also the management understands that issue, that let's put children in places where they are taken into the group with open arms, and with this attitude that there's plenty that we can do. The salary rate is still quite low compared to many other jobs, but we have had in 5 years €500 per month salary rise, so we have been fighting well in that sense. Okay, I'm not here to agitate you, but still remember to be proud of your profession, and when you have negotiations of salary, don't minimize yourself. Okay, but next thing what I will do is I will, please put your hands crossed like this and start tapping your shoulders. This is butterfly effect. We are all small human beings, but with butterfly effect we can do great things. I think the first thing for a child is that the need to be loved and valued in the group, and sometimes we fail even in that first thing. And I used to do this practice with my children in my profession every morning. We tapped ourselves on the shoulder, and then we said together, I am valued, I am loved, and I love myself. Okay, let's do this together. I am valued, I am loved, and I love myself. Okay, thank you so much, and remember to stay in contact. This is how I relax, swimming in the cold water. And remember to take care of yourself, because we can only take care of our other people if we truly take care of ourselves. Thank you.